Most students get a lower score in IELTS reading because of matching features and matching information questions, as they tend to neglect it. That's why in this video, I'm going to tell you step by step how to attempt these two questions. But before we dive into the video, I and my father teach online and offline classes. So if anybody is interested, you can contact us at this number. Moreover, we guarantee you at least a band 7. First, we're going to be solving the matching features question. Now it differs in IELTS academic as well as general training. In IELTS academic reading, there's a list of researchers given. But in general training, there is sometimes a list of researchers given, but usually it's a list of animals or list of jobs. However, the tips for both the modules remain the same. And in this video, we're going to be discussing the list of researchers. Here, you should keep it in mind that the questions will not be in order, just like matching headings. But the answers in the box, the options, will always be in order. For example, here are scientists' name mentioned, and the information related to the first scientist will always appear before the information related to the second scientist in the passage. Similarly for the third scientist and the fourth scientist. Sometimes there are two pieces of information related to the same scientist, but you don't need to worry because they will also appear in sequential order. After keeping it in mind, you should read the questions, all of the questions. Read them carefully and highlight their keywords. Like highlight the first question's keyword, then the second question's keyword, then the third, and then the fourth. And after this, start with finding the first scientist's name. Go through the passage and scan. Use rapid eye movements like this to only scan the scientist's name. Don't focus on any other thing, only the scientist's name, and you will find it quite quickly. Once you found it, just read and understand the piece of information given according to that scientist. Now understand it because synonyms will be used. The question statement and the saying in the passage will never be the same. They will always be paraphrased. So you need to have some knowledge of vocabulary and paraphrasing. After you understood it, compare that scientist saying with every question. Compare it, eliminate it, and get the right answer. However, sometimes there is an instruction given that you may use a letter more than once. Now, whenever this instruction is given, you should get a confirmation that an answer, it can be A, B, C, or D, will definitely be used more than once. And repeat this strategy for every matching features question. Now that we are done with the strategies, we'll solve some questions. So these are the questions. We'll start with highlighting the keywords in each of the statement. Form of transport used, coming back home after a long journey, worked, benefit of specific groups of people, did not learning oneself essential part of exploration. Then we'll start with the first scientist, which is Peter Fleming. Pause the video to read the passage and use scanning, rapid eye movement to just detect the scientist's name. Okay, so here in the fourth line, explorer and travel writer Peter Fleming talks of the moment when the explorer returns to the existence he has left behind with his loved ones. The traveler who has for weeks or months seen himself only a puny irrelevant alien crawling laboriously over a country in which he has no roots and no background suddenly encounters his other self, a relatively solid figure with a place in the minds of certain people. Now here the writer is trying to say that he has left behind his loved ones and he has returned to the existence after quite a long time. It's mentioned here has left behind loved ones for weeks and months seen himself, no roots and background, suddenly encounters his true self. And when we compare the question statements, we can clearly see that the answer for 34 MCQ is A. Remember that all the scientists' name will not be used, as here are 4 questions and 5 scientists, so definitely a single scientist would not be used. Plus here is written you may use a letter more than once. It means a letter will be repeated, so 2 scientists' name will not be used. When moving to the second scientist, Van Finesse, here the scientist name isn't used. So we'll just jump to the C, Chris Bonington. This scientist's name is also not used. Now we move to option D, Robin Henbury Tennyson. Here is the paragraph. Now pause the video to find the name Robin Henbury Tennyson. So here in the fifth line, Robin Henbury Tennyson, a campaigner on behalf of remote so-called tribal peoples, said, a traveler simply records information about some far-off world and reports back, but an explorer changes the world. So the answer to question 35 is D. Moving on to the last scientist, Wilfred Hessiger. Pause the paragraph to find the word Wilfred Hessiger. Here in the sixth line, Wilfred Hessiger, who addressed Arabia's empty quarter in 1946. If I'd gone across by camel when I could have gone by car. And the words, to him exploration meant bringing back information from a remote place regardless of any great self-discovery. Now the answer to question 33, form of transport used, is Wilfred Hessiger because he mentioned camel and car. Similarly, the answer to question 36 is also Wilfred Hessiger because it's mentioned that he just went out on traveling regardless of any great self-discovery. He doesn't consider it important. And in question 36 is mentioned, he did not consider learning about oneself as a part of exploration. So the answer is E. Look here, the condition, you may use the letter more than once is fulfilled. E is repeated. Time for the matching information question. This question appears in both academic reading as well as GT reading. And the statement here will be, which section contains the following information? So there will be 4 to 5 questions given, and you have to tell which paragraph contains that information. So here you need to first read the questions, underline the keywords there, and then move on to the first paragraph. Read the first paragraph carefully and you will find out whether the section contains that information or not. Compare that information with every single question and just eliminate the options and choose the right answer. Do it with the second paragraph, extract the information, compare it with those questions, and just do it for every single paragraph. Don't worry if any paragraph doesn't contain the information because not all sections will contain an information. And here also the instruction might be used. You may use a letter more than once. In such cases, it's definite that a letter will be repeated. Let's implement these strategies in the questions. These are the questions. I will highlight the keywords. Question 14, disappearance of multiple species. Way of reproducing extinct animal using DNA. Habitat which has suffered following extinction of species. Exact point where a particular species became extinct. Pause the video, read the paragraph and try to find the information. Here in the sixth line, since disappearance of this key species, ecosystem has suffered as lack of disturbance caused thousands of passengers, pigeons, wrecking trees and branches means there has been minimal need for regrowth. Now if you look at question 16, here is written reference to a habitat that has suffered. And in the paragraph, ecosystem has suffered. Also, disappearance of key species is mentioned following the extinction of species. So, the answer is option D. Now pause on this paragraph and try to find the information. She prefers to focus on debate on how this emerging technology could be fully understood about when extinct species in the first place, and how it could be used to make genetic modifications that would prevent mass extinctions in the future. Here, prevent mass extinctions in the future. And in question 14, disappearance of multiple species could be avoided. So the answer is F. Again, pause the video and try to find the information. The passenger pigeon extinct came to an end on 1st September 1914 when the last specimen died. Here question number 17. Mention of exact point in which a particular species died. The exact point is mentioned, the date September. So A is the answer. Look at the question. Use a letter more than once. There is only one question remaining. It means that the answer to this question lies in paragraph number F, D, and A. Pause the video and try to find the information. Here, aims to bring bird back to life through a process called de-extinction, cloning technique to turn the DNA of extinct animals into fertilized embryo from the nearest relative still in existence. And here in question 15, reproducing an extinct animal using DNA. So it's mentioned here in this paragraph. The answer is option A. Wonderful. Now you become an expert in matching features and matching information question. And make sure to tell me in the comment section that how many questions did you get correct. And make sure to like this video if it helped you, share it with those who need it, subscribe and press the bell icon so that you get notified of every video that I upload on this channel. Take care. Allah Hafiz.